Hey guys, Discliner Magic here, and a lot of people have noticed during my live streams, me included, that I don't seem to go first a whole lot. So I thought, okay, is it just the human brain interpreting, oh, I hate going second more than, oh, I'm going first, who cares? Like, it's a more significant event that's more memorable, so it will feel retroactively like you're going second more often. So I thought, well, let's just track it. And then, of course, it's like, well, how long do you track it for? So it's supposed to be 50-50, so let's compare it to, like, a coin flip. We did this in math class to prove this. If you flip a coin 10 times, it could be 7 or 8 heads or tails. Like, that's not what you would expect to happen, but within reason, at that sample size, that could be your result. Now, as you get further away, it gets less likely. That's an important thing to remember. So if you go 6 and 4, that's almost as likely as 50-50, but then you go 7 and 3, that's a lot less likely. 8 and 2 is insanely unlikely. 9 and 1, you gotta suspect something's wrong with the coin, and 10, it's just like never gonna happen pretty much. If I'm not mistaken, in fact, to come up heads or tails 10 times in a row, that's about a 1 in 1,000 shot. And remember, its chances of coming up specifically heads 10 times in a row is 1 in 2,000. It's actually 1 in 2048. It's like 2 to the 10th power something. So I played 100 games over the last couple weeks in Platinum Ranked. I kept everything as similar as I could. So it was all ranked, all Platinum, no free play, no special events. I mean, I did play them, I just didn't count them. And I used like the same pretty much 2 decks. I mean, I think I might have thrown in a third one. But I kept everything as consistent and the same so that there was no variables. So at 100, which we did do this also in math class to illustrate the difference, I don't know what threshold would be considered extremely abnormal, but personally, I feel like anything above 55-45, a split larger than that would be kind of odd. Like, I remember seeing a sample size of, I think, like 10,000, where they asked mothers to guess the gender of their child, and they tracked it. And the moms were able to guess it, I think, like 52.5% of the time, which you might think, oh, that's barely past 50-50. But at that sample size, that was considered statistically significant enough. It had, I guess, what they call a high enough sigma level to have a confidence that there's something going on other than random chance. For the record, I have no idea how to calculate sigma levels at all. But also for the record, we did learn it, I just didn't care, so I forgot it. So all this like meta probability of the probability crap, like whatever, if somebody wants to do that, put it in the comment section. I don't care. But the important thing to remember is the higher variance compared to the sample size and the higher or the further you go past 50-50, if 50-50 are the odds, both of those are very significant. So I went up to a 100 game sample size and the split was, let's just say it wasn't 50-50. And shocker, I wasn't going first more than 50% of the time either. So, okay, you've been waiting patiently. The actual numbers were 61 times I went second and 39 times I went first. That is well into the realm of utterly ridiculous at that sample size. I mean, in my opinion, that is very statistically anomalous. And the best thing is I tracked this the whole time. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually mathematically correct, but if it's consistently going up by the same rate the whole time, that's more significant than if it like waves around, because that indicates like a higher variance. Like if it was, oh, now I'm going first more, then now I'm going second more, now I'm going first more, now I'm going second more, and then I just stop at 100, I feel like that would be less significant than just, no, there's been a, 20% disadvantage or something like that, consistently at 10 wins, 20 wins, 30 wins, the whole way up, there was never anything else. That definitely supports the fact that I think it's consistently rigged over time. Now, if you're about to say, oh, you made it up, you just made those numbers up. No, I painstakingly tracked it in Excel. Every single game, I put a 1 in the column of go first, or a 1 in the column of don't go first. There was no tendency or anything or misremembering. No, if I didn't see it on the screen currently, I did not do it. I have dual monitors. Trust me, I tracked it correctly. If you're just going to outright call me a liar, I'm just going to ban you from my comment section. This took me forever. Just take my word for it to get the hell off my channel. This is the longest, most elaborate video I have ever done. So I'm not going to have people sit there and tell me I made the numbers up. In fact, I even got halfway done and showed the post on Patreon. And needless to say, I didn't count incorrectly. So to save you some calculations, that is a spread, a difference of 22 games. That is insane. Plus, you've got the completely non-scientific tracking of me just feeling like I never go first. So the anecdotal evidence from the last, 6 months of Arena mixed with me tracking it, they both are inline. So actually the sample size is kind of bigger than 100 if you think about it. Now, there is still the psychological aspect, but you can't really argue with the fact that the numbers supported what I theorized in the first place. So there is something to that. So the only other argument to the contrary is, no, that is within the realm of possibility, which I just have to disagree. 3961 is not within the realm of reasonable probability. So let's break into why is this happening? And that's where things get real tinfoil hatty and go off the rails real quick. Let's start with the simplest explanation. Random number generation is crap in, I'll just say, the Unity engine or whatever. I mean, they could be using the VC.NET redistributable. I don't know. Maybe the engine is using that. I mean, but still, the engine that they used it for is a game. Games need very good, accurate random numbers. So maybe there's a problem with the number generation algorithm where everybody just knows don't use the Unity engine to generate numbers too close to each other. The millisecond seed from the clock might either overlap or, I don't know, just don't request more than X amount of random numbers per second. And then the developers just weren't aware of that. But the game's so perfect, I think the programmers are pretty talented. And like I said, I don't know anything about the Unity engine. But just the blanket statement of, okay, the random number generation is crap in the game based exclusively on the performance of the shuffler, which is 100% proven at this point. I don't give a crap what any trackers say. I looked at that article from those people who make like the Arena tracker or whatever. Their entire premise and their basis for how they measured it was wrong, so oh well. So if the randomization in the shuffler is accidentally broken due to the limitation of randomization algorithms not being very random and having slight tendencies, that explains it. But remember, there's a lot of money behind the Unity engine and some of the other frameworks that they used. If random number generation was this imperfect to give this big of a spread, well, one, they would use something else, or two, all encryption and password generation in the entire world would fail. I mean, it's really just that simple. I don't really care to explain why that is, but in almost all cases, computer random number generation is good enough. But on the flip side, sometimes it isn't. That's why you can pay for services that generate truly random numbers or like environmentally random. Like if you go to random.org and tell it to generate a number in a range, they use like an atmospheric microphone or something that listens to the ionosphere or something. And that's proven to be really random because the only like pattern or tendency would be in the electronics, which they've ironed out, or like each individual molecule moving in the atmosphere. That's a lot of variables. So it is well known in the programming community that just getting a seed number from a clock at like the millisecond scale and the computer's internal clock, using that as a seed and then generating a random number off of it, using an equation, of course, is noticeably less perfect, and a lot of very serious high security things will use something else. There's even a PCI Express card that you can drop in your computer. I don't know if they're still around, this vendor, but they will take a photon and have it go through either a left path or a right path, and it is flawlessly 50-50 because it's quantum whatever. It's like Schrodinger's cat except a photon, and it uses a splitting mirror or something. So it just fires a laser beam, and the photons either go left or right, and then the card is like, there you go, there's a result, boom. And then that 50-50 can be extrapolated to other odds. Some like banks, people who do encryption like that, sometimes they resort to stuff like that or outsource it to someone who like provides random numbers from a server that runs something similar. So in summary, some use cases have determined that there's enough of a pattern of predictability and imperfection in actual odds with the most typical normal way that random numbers are generated in computer code and software, based on a clock as the seed, that some software solutions have chosen to go a different route. So lacking any other evidence, I would say that that's to blame. It's just they need so many random numbers in such a short sequence. I mean, just think, they have to take 60 cards and order them. And it has to happen like instantly. And then how do you assign the number to the card? And then how do you like assign the random number to like an index in the array of cards? Like there actually might be a pattern there, or a preference there, or a bias that the programmers haven't found yet, or it's just the RNG being crap. Random number generation, RNG. I'm not going to go into specifically at the programming level why I think that's true, because there just wouldn't be any viewers left. So lacking any other evidence for a purposeful riggage, this is what I would blame. Unfortunately, I have evidence of a purposeful riggage. Now, I didn't actually track this because if I added this many more variables, I would have had to go to, I think, 400 games to get the same confidence level and samples, like effective sample size, but I was going to track every time I go first or second, did I win or lose the last game? And in other words, rank up or D rank. Because just, me and a lot of people have been thinking, I seem to go first a lot more often after I lose. So then I would have kind of had like 4 columns, and it's a whole thing, so I just decided not to track that. But there is one thing I could test at the small scale. I had a theory about what was causing me to go first. The game didn't want me to progress. And think about this. There have been patents filed, literal, actual software patents in America by companies, I think it was Activision, to psychologically rig the results of somebody opening like a loot box in a game to like not match up with something that they just saw in a match or something like that. So like basically you'd have to open more loot boxes after seeing somebody use a hyper powerful weapon or armor that they got out of a loot box. And just other just subtly rigged crap. So just screwing with the odds to force somebody to buy more of something. Well, I'd so put that past Wizards of the Coast. Not. And there's a theory that, if you purchase more gems, they'll give you a preference. Well, that only works if you notice it's true, and if you notice it's true, you're going to tell everybody, and if you tell everybody, they're going to boycott the game. Or somebody buys, $50 worth of gems, and now they go first 75% of the time or whatever, and they get really good land counts in their opening hands, but don't notice it. Well, then they're not encouraged to buy more, and if they do notice it, then they're going to tell everybody it's rigged. I think we can mark that one 100% debunked, because it's lacking any kind of logic. Plus, if they spent more money, they probably have a better deck than you. They don't need any more help. But what makes you want to purchase gems? Losing all the time. Here's the thing. I haven't exactly given Wizards a whole lot of money in case you missed my other videos. But when was I really not going first? It's when I was really close to going up in a tier or going up in an entire color. Now here's the fun thing, in case you missed my live stream. I have been 1 win away from Diamond League 9 freaking times. 1 win away from Diamond League 9 times, and every single time it wasn't like, that was a hard-fought game. No, it was like, wow, that was an insanely bad matchup. My opponent had a perfect opening hand, and I mulled the 5 almost every damn time. And I went first a grand total of, take a guess, you already know what number's coming, 0 times in those games. I tracked this separately because I was starting to see a pattern real damn quick. Out of all 9 games where if I would have won the game I would have been in Diamond League, I went first 0 times. I also noticed that right when I went up a tier, like if I kind of fell back down to 3 or 2 and then I went back up, so I had a padding of, I could lose 3 games before I derank, then I'd go first quite often. So when there was more stakes, more on the line, and I was about to get to a higher tier, which clearly they would know the average user would want, then it seemed to just be like, I guess you're not going to go first then. Good luck winning without going first, because not going first is a huge disadvantage, especially when it's best of 1 instead of best of 3. It's amplified even further. Someone years ago did elaborate math about every single deck that was in the standard meta and concluded that going second is not offset by the fact that you basically start the game with 8 cards. It's just not. And in the specific standard meta right now, the longer you go, so if it's a 14-turn game, the less who went first matters, because there's going to be so much back and forth and artificial draw, scry, this, that, and just from a percentage standpoint, what percent of extra turns did they take than you? It's going to be very diffused. But unfortunately, what happens in games that go past like turn 14 right now? It's going past turn 14 because they're running some kind of controlled disaster like Dimir or Teferi crap. So if it goes to turn 15 and you're playing against one of those, you lost, okay? You already lost. It doesn't matter. So let's go the opposite. You're doing white blitz with like a Johnny life gain, or just Boros mentor blitz, or red rush like goblin blitz, or just red wins blitz. All 4 of them. If they go first, I think it's probably starting at bare minimum a 70% chance of winning, just because their deck is that fast. It's a turn 4 or turn 5 deck. Probably turn 5, but still. Like if you get 4 turns and they get 5 and their deck is fast as hell and they're going first, you're going to lose. Sparing some kind of miracle and like you just absolutely shut them down, you blow up the entire board on turn 4, which would be kind of hard to do. I mean, Selesnya, okay. Selesnya into Cleansing Nova, like that's okay. Dimir, Rakdos, or Bolas colored decks that just obliterate everything you do in real time. They do something, you kill it. They do something, you kill it. Like, that's the exception. But in general, all things being equal, it's quite simple. Whoever goes first is going to have an enormous advantage, and they know that. Everybody knows that. Everyone who plays Magic, especially professionally, knows this. The programmers know it. So if they don't want you to win, but they want to be subtle about it, all they have to do is make you not go first. Now here's the thing, I've been tracking this from Platinum 3 to Platinum 1, so I've been progressing, and they don't want me to progress, because if I don't progress, I start thinking to myself, oh, I need to buy gems because I need to buy better cards. If I could just upgrade my deck a little bit, maybe I'll be able to get out of Platinum. Oh, I got so close so many times. Oh, I was about to rank up, but oh no, I got burned by one of those come in tapped lands instead of an actually good land. I need more wild cards. Let me get out my credit card. Which obviously does not work on me. So that seems extremely plausible to me, like that they would start rigging who goes first, and they'd maybe start rigging the number of lands you start with, because that's the other way to just completely and utterly ruin a game. Just be like, oh no, you started with one land in hand. But I have a 24 land deck, and we all know that there's a double opening hand thing. Somebody told me they got rid of it. I don't know if that's true, post proof somewhere. But they have this opening hand assistance algorithm. So what they do is they take the percentage of land in your deck and then shrink it down to a priority list. So I believe like 24, the top priority would be 3. So what they do then is they double draw. So they draw 2 opening hands and they just simply count the number of lands. I don't think the CMC of the rest of the cards is taken into consideration. So then on the priority list, they'll say, well, this one has 3 lands in it and this opening hand has 1. Okay, let's go with 3. But they have a fail over order. And if you have 23 or less, I believe that's where like the rounding rolls over to 2, where it will prioritize 2. So if you had one opening hand with 2 and one opening hand with 3 and you had 23 lands, you probably want the 3, but you're not gonna get it. They will prioritize the 2. Now if they both have 3, because I think that would be an extremely mathematically likely outcome, then they'll probably go with like the lowest average CMC or something like that. Or they'll just pick one at random, although I really at this point hate to use the term random because that would imply that the random number generator is random. Now, we've all had this happen. I've had it happen so many times, and I calculated the odds. It should happen like 1 in 10,000 games, and I've personally seen it like 5 times, so you don't really need a bigger sample size than that to prove that. Like, I mean, that's like me winning the lottery like over and over and over and over and over. It's just not going to happen. So clear as day, this is not supposed to happen if the random number generator was actually random. But I've had it where it's either a no-lander or a one-lander, which means that it happened twice, and then I mulligan to 6, and it happens again in a row sequentially. So 0 lands is the lowest probability on literally anything. I mean, maybe if you put 7 lands in your 60-card deck, it would prioritize 0. I don't know, but I just ran the odds, okay? Get this. 60-card deck, 22 lands, opening hand is 7 cards, okay? What is the probability that you will get exactly 0 lands in your opening hand? It is 3.2%, believe it or not, which is kind of high. Here's the problem. Both of the opening hands would have had to have 0 lands for you to have 0 lands. Because remember, it allegedly picks the better of them. That's closer to 1 in 1,000, give or take. I think it's a little bit better odds than that. And then you draw 6 cards, assuming that the opening hand land assistance is turned on for mulligans as well, because why wouldn't it be? Then it happens to both hands sequentially again, and the probability should get even more generous when I open it up to the fact that, oh, you could also get 1, so 1 or 0. I mean, actually, that would improve the odds now that I think about it. But still, you multiply those in, and you're at, what even are we at? 1 in 100,000, 1 in a million, somewhere in that neighborhood? I hate converting percentages to like decimals, and it's a pain in the ass. But that's just ballpark what it would be. It's impossible. And I've had that happen to me 3, 4, 5 times. Probably 5, 6, actually, now that I think about it. So you got to resort to, once again, is the random number generator crap? And there's some weird tendency. And then why is it in that direction? Why is it in the direction of screwing me over all the time? Or is it purposeful? The game just decided they don't want me to win. And honestly, like switching between free play and ranked play, switching between events and not events, I think that at a certain point the game doesn't want me to win. And now I thought that the developers actually confirmed this. I thought they said like once you get past X amount of wins in an event, they just turn off the opening hand assistance completely. Someone told me that they stated something like that. I just couldn't find the exact quote of them saying that. Somebody else told me that the opening hand assistance is turned off completely for all events. It's only for ranked play and free play. Well, then somebody else told me they got rid of it completely, which, come on, my land draws are way too consistent most games compared to, like, paper. So I feel like it's still on. But regardless, if you take it all into consideration, if the game decides for psychological manipulative reasons to make you spend money, that they don't want to let you progress, they don't want to let you just win this game against this person for some reason, they can force that outcome to happen way more often than it should by making you not go first and screwing over your opening hand. So I already have proof that it's not a 50-50 chance of you going first. The only question is it intentional or is it just bad randomization? Well, to answer that question, I really spiked the living hell out of my platinum ranking. I think I'm currently in tier 3 because of this. Well, to set this up, I have to mention one thing. They have a thing in the game called deck power level. They have admitted it. They have openly admitted that they used to use it for matchups, and they have the code in place to track it. So just keep that in mind. So what I did is I took a really weird, janky, low mythic, low wildcard count, mono-colored deck into platinum ranked play. I did 15 games, I lost most of them, and I went first 13 times out of 15. Not a very scientific sample size, but remember, we got to go into this thinking, I have a theory about why what just happened in proper statistics with proper sample size. Let's test it. Oh, look, it's in line with my theory. I think there's something to that. So basically, if you're going into ranked play, they're like, oh my gosh, this guy has no chance of winning with this garbage deck. This deck's power level is, whatever arbitrary number they come up with. Well, I guess it's not arbitrary. Like, this deck's power level is this, and this deck's power level is that. Let's just make the guy go first so it actually resembles maybe a fair game. Because remember, they kind of alluded to the fact that pushing for kind of a 50-50 win rate is kind of the point of the ranking system. Well, then on top of deck power, they've got the, whatever the hell they call the thing, the MMR rating, which nobody knows how the hell that's calculated. I think it's just like your overall win-loss rate as a player, and then like you mix it with your deck power, and then that's like your matchmaking power level anticipated win chance or something. I don't know. And nobody knows. Anybody claiming to know is lying. It's really that simple. But you take all this crap like deck power and MMR that they're tracking, and then why is this anomalous thing happening and the games appear to be rigged? I wonder if the two are connected. The code already exists in the game. They've already admitted it. So really the only thing that they would have to do to connect the two and rig the game is connect the two in the code. Just have one thing that you're tracking cause the other. It's really not hard. So anyway, we all know the shuffler's a dumpster fire. It's just, is it on purpose or not? And now you also know from my tedious and ongoing study that the go first system is also seemingly not random. And also, is it on accident or is it on purpose? Well, honestly, I don't care. I know which one I would think is worse. But regardless, let's just sum it up by saying matches on Arena aren't fair. Does the intention really matter? The games are going to be rigged whether it was on purpose or not. That at least seems to be what this is suggesting. I mean, obviously to prove it, you'd have to, actually have a copy of the code of the game, which nobody does except for the devs. But I would highly encourage anybody, if you wanted to help crowdsource this and up the accuracy of it, to track it. Although, I mean, once again, I don't trust any of you. No offense, but people who want to keep living in a delusional world where Arena is perfect and keep thinking that we're all wrong, they could just submit it and say, oh, I replicated your results and it was 50-50. And then there's confirmation bias and groupthink and not wanting to stand out if you get anomalous readings so they aren't reported and all this. But I guess just for you, if you wanted to track it, do 30 games, 50 games, 100 games, whatever you feel comfortable with. I mean, just grab a piece of paper and do tally marks. I went first, I didn't go first. It's that simple. Track it for a week, a month, whatever you want, and just see if you get the same results as me. And I think you will. Unless apparently you're playing a mono blue jank deck. Then apparently you're going to go first 80% of the time. And like I said, 15 is not the highest sample size. You're going to get some variance. But I thought 13 was a little high. So that's all you need to know about this. Hopefully you guys followed the math, the logic, all this, and you're probably pretty pissed off at this point. But leave a thumbs up anyway. So thanks for watching. Don't forget the 5th chapter of the Ravnica storyline is live on my Desolator Gaming channel. Just type Desolator Gaming into search. I'm totally going to forget to link to the channel in the description. Also, more fun Arena experimentation is coming with either Xander's Quest or Mr. Cinders, aka Cinder Shadow. We got some plans about how to kind of do some funny stuff in Arena. So hit subscribe if you don't want to miss that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.